What's going on, Buff Nation? What's going on, BW? Beat all my bandwagon buffs. Congratulations to the Buff Nation. Congratulations to everyone that followed the Colorado Buffaloes regular season. We went 9-3. Guys, the off season is not an off season. It's just a not regular season, because not too long ago, we spent several months talking about college football, what was happening prior to the season. And before you know it, guys, we were having a conversation about the actual games. All the stuff that we talked about, the excitement that we created for the games led right into the games. And now we finally have results. We have results that we can talk about for a whole 9 months before the summertime. September, I think either August or September, when college football starts all over again. So welcome to the not so off season. I know my guy Phil said you can't call there's no off season because Josh Pace said there's no off season. But man, look, our Colorado Buffaloes are 9-3, right? And we get to talk about the bowl games. We get to talk about the NFL draft. We get to talk about Heisman trophies, the different types of awards, who's leaving, who's coming. We have so much to talk about, man. And the good thing about this show is that it's more of a podcast type show. It's a show where you just come on here. You know what I'm saying? There's no breaks. I don't get no breaks. So you obviously are not going to get no breaks. We get to talk football 360, man. All right? Because this is a great environment where you can come here and we can all have a great conversation about our team, your team. This time we're gonna include a lot more of the teams. We're gonna include the Big 12 guys. We're gonna include more teams. We're gonna talk more of the Big 12. Now that we know together, now that we understand who's in the Big 12, we understand who the players are. Some of those players are gonna leave. Guys, we get to have a more honest conversation because now nobody has a disadvantage. So let's have that conversation starting right now. I'm your host, guys. Welcome to TLP Sports Club. All right. I'm your host, Harry Billion. Okay. I go by Harry B. The B means billion. Somewhere in my mind, I think I'm a billionaire. I think YouTube is going to make me a billionaire. They say, YouTube, forgive me, God. I think God is going to make me a billionaire using my media, my gift of gab, using my different attributes, my gifts that God has given me. Somehow I feel like I'm going to be a billionaire. I don't know when, but I believe it. But anyways, welcome to the show, guys. What's up? What's going on? On your screen, Tim, what up? Tim Smith is in the building, man. Our guy is ready to go. So let me do a little bit of housekeeping. Let me tell you what's about to happen, because now we have no more regular football to talk about. We got postseason games that are going to be happening. So I'm going to be doing live streams for those games. All right. We're going to be bringing back Monday Night Football, guys. Remember, Monday Night Football. I don't like to compete with the NFL. So now that the NFL is pretty much going to be over soon, we're going to be bringing back Monday Night Football where we get to talk about football. I may switch the Tuesday night. I will keep the Tuesday, Monday, or I might have to move it to Wednesday or something like that, midweek or something like that before Friday. Friday, we got to keep Friday. Free for all Fridays. It's a hit for TLP Sports Club where we come on here and we just spaz out. All right. But I believe I'm going to bring back Monday Night Football where, you know what I'm saying, we get to talk about Monday night. We get to talk football on Monday nights. Okay. You have a great weekend. We come back on Monday and we talk about it. I believe I'm bringing that back. But I'm going to be doing a lot of different things in the subsequent weeks or in the coming weeks. I'm going to be telling you what's going on. But Colorado football, no more regular season, no more Shedeur, no more Travis Hunter, no more Shiloh. I got a question. Who was the center of all of this? Do you think it was Coach Prime? Do you think it was the young men? Shirley Campbell, what's up with you? Who was the center? Who kept us here? Was it Coach Prime or was it these young men? We're going to find out real soon, though, because Coach Prime is still here. He's going to be here. And the young men are not going to be here after the summer, after all of this postseason stuff is all over. They're no longer going to be here. But the question is, are you going to be here? Is the team going to be still exciting to watch? Why were you here to begin with? Is it over for you? Is the excitement over for you? Is it just beginning? Do we get to dip into a whole nother era of Colorado football, Coach Prime coaching? And another question is, do you think that Coach Prime's legacy as a coach starts right now? Right after Shedeur, right after Shiloh, right after Travis? Does it start now? Has it already started, or it cannot start until Shedeur is gone? When you have one of the best quarterbacks in college football, in Shedeur, I feel like it's so unfortunate that we did not get to really experience or give him his flowers. And when I say we, I'm not just talking about just us fans, because I think us fans, we did. But college football, I feel like we didn't get to enjoy Shedeur the way that everybody enjoys, like they're the best players in college football. We didn't get to enjoy Travis Hunter, and we didn't get to enjoy Shedeur, all because they were tied to Coach Prime. Can you imagine a Shedeur with a different coach? Can you imagine Travis Hunter with a different coach? I feel like they pulled a veil over our faces, and we were not allowed to really enjoy them the way that you're supposed to enjoy, like a generational talents. I'll start with Shedeur. Before I get too deep into the show, let me just let you know that you can call into this show. This is a panel show. This is where we come here, we run our mouth, okay? Whether we're right or wrong, it doesn't matter. But we respect each other here. The way that you call in is right there on your screen. All right? I think it's this hand. There you go. Right? I got the hand right. Because when you're on camera, it's like the opposites. Anyways, I always get that wrong. So this hand, right there on your screen. Join TLPlive@gmail.com. You might as well write it down now, because the offseason, there's going to be a lot of great conversations that we're having. And you may want to call into one of these shows. This is the one show that is about you calling in, we having a conversation and keeping this thing going. Okay? That's what this, I guess you can call it, a podcast. This is a podcast where you get to enjoy this. Join TLPlive@gmail.com. It's the email, guys. I want to see more. I want to hear more. I want to hear new voices. I might have to switch to on and off, like maybe Fridays. Free for all Fridays are going to turn into, you can't post a photo. You're going to have to show your face, because I'll be talking to a bunch of faces. You know what I'm saying? I'll be hearing a bunch of voices, and I'll be like, wait a minute. What does Ron Tate look like? And then when you see Ron Tate's face, you're like, no, I didn't place the voice with the face. There's no way you look like that. You know what I'm saying? I'll be like, Cape Con. What does Cape Con look like? No, he's a South African, but he's light-skinned. So I might have to do this thing where every other show, you got to show your face if you're on the panel. So no more just posting photos. So if you got a radio face, I'm sorry, but you're going to have to, you know what I'm saying, bust that pimple, and you're going to have to put some Band-Aid on it and just come on and show your face anyway. But anyways, join TLPlive@gmail.com. It's the email, guys. Join TLPlive@gmail.com. Write it down. We're going to be having a lot of different shows, a lot of different panels. Some of these panels are going to be discussion panels where I post questions, we discuss it. We can talk about the different coaches, the different players, the different teams, the different conferences. If college football ever going to get it right, it's the commit. We're going to talk about the committee. There's so much that we can talk about as college football fans. And yeah, so we're going to have a lot of discussions. So join TLPlive@gmail.com is the email for you to come on here and have this conversation with us. Okay, so let's go. I did not send the email to myself. Let me send the email to myself so that when you call in, we'll be able to have that discussion. First question on the table. Does Coach Prime's legacy as a coach start right now, or has it started before this? But I want to ask, I want to know, does Coach Prime's legacy start right now? When I say start right now, that means that there was no way that we were going to credit him with his own son, right? We can probably put Travis in there as one of his sons. Coach Prime was not about to get the credit for having a dope quarterback son, right? So do we start right now? And do you believe that Coach Prime's son, Shedeur, at the end of the season, at the end of regular season, was he the best quarterback in college football? Let's tackle those two questions. I want to hear what you got to say in the chat before my regular guys come on. I don't know who's going to be able to come on today. So Troy says yes. I don't know which question he's saying yes to. Question number one, does Coach Prime's legacy start right now because they were not going to credit him with his son, with him coaching his son or his sons? We got to put Shiloh in there. Does his legacy start right now, or has it always been ongoing? Number two, the second question, do you think that Shedeur, after all has been said and done, do you think, we're not going to count the playoff games or whatever games, regular season, do you believe now, do you believe that Shedeur was the best quarterback in college football now that everything is all said and done? We got the records. Everything's in the record books. Do you believe that Shedeur was the best quarterback in college football? So Troy said, yes, his legacy begins now. So you're saying that Coach Prime's legacy begins now because he was not going to be credited with him coaching his son. So now we get to, so both yes for you. Okay. So now we get to judge Coach Prime, put his legacy on the table and say, okay, now your son is gone. No more daddy ball. We're not going to talk about that no more. We want to see how you can take other people's children, coach them up, and make them into a championship team. We're no longer gonna disparage you about your son. So here we are. You now have to stand on your own coaching legacy. You have to now stand on your own eight toes. You got to stand on your own two legs now and do what you do, minus your children. We also get to see, was his children the reason why we were here, or was it a group thing? Was it like one of those things where we were here because the idea of your sons, you coaching your sons, and they just happened to be as good as they were? I know some of y'all don't really want to credit Shiloh as being good, but Shiloh is like one of the best safeties in college football. Like, he should not have had as many tackles as he has had, but that's only indicative of how much that line was not as great as we thought they were. Even though they were really good, they were not as great, because once the ball gets past that line, somebody got to make that tackle. And he got a lot of those tackles. So Shiloh should not have had that many, but he does. Shiloh was really good. I know we did this whole thing where we was making fun of him, but when you put it all together, Shiloh was one of the hardest hitting college football safeties. He was good, okay? But what do y'all think? So New Orleans JV says, it's definitely a new beginning. Tim Smith said it already started. Who am I going to side with? Oh, y'all ready to come on? Y'all ready to just have a conversation? I see a bunch of y'all here. Okay, let's go. Let me send the link. Excuse me, guys. I don't want to have no dead air because I was a radio DJ as well, and we know how dead air feels when you're watching something and you're listening as well. No dead air. So I'm going to talk my way through this while I'm sending the link because I do not have a producer yet. I don't have a another producer. My wife usually my wife executive produce everything I do, but I need a real producer, a different type of producer. Okay, so the links are sent for right now. For those who are going to come on here for us to have this discussion. And also on the screen, guys, I'm going to take that off, okay? So the off season, or as my guy Phil said, no off season. So the not regular season, we're just going to call it the not regular season. So the not regular season conversations are going to be more like panel discussions, all right? Just like they've been during the season, and then we obviously we analyze the games and whatnot. Some sort of like the same formula. I'm going to try to come up with different ways for us to have a lot of fun in the off season, and I'm going to try to make it seem like you're not even going to miss football before football comes again, and it's going to be like this is a community. Like you cannot deny the TLP community. Okay, you may hate on me or hate on the channel or whatever, but you know when you come on here, we have great discussions. Okay. And I ain't going to hold you guys. I'm telling you, I might have to creep in a little bit of gossip because the gossip is juicy. We might have to get a little messy around here because last time y'all say, Harry, don't get messy. So I stayed out of the messy, but I'm watching other channels rack up the views while y'all was discussing messy. No. You can't have it both ways. You can't show them love for the messy. Like Travis Hunter and his girlfriend issues and stuff like that. We might have to ask some of that stuff just because it's good for TV, okay? Let's go with CU Fan first. CU Fan, what's up, my guy? You're keeping the Jesus cross. I respect it. How you doing today? Thank you for coming in.
Good morning, Harry. How are you? God
Good
bless.
morning. Good morning. It's almost noontime where I live at, but it's probably mad early for you, but we're here. How you doing today, man?
Good. Man, I'm excited to be here to talk about the new stuff that's about to happen.
It's a lot of new stuff, man. It's a lot of new stuff that's about to happen. Coach Prime and his legacy about to start. I think it's about to start. But let's bring on Tim Smith, and then we'll talk about the legacy stuff. I'll ask you guys what's going on. Tim Smith, Dallas is in the building. Welcome to the show, brother. I always appreciate you calling in. How you doing today?
Yo, what up, Harry? What's up, CU Fan? I'm doing well,
Hey,
sir.
Tim.
How about yourself, man?
All is well. All is well. Are you excited for the not regular season?
Yeah, man. I'm ready. I'm ready.
So
I'm ready. It's a lot of good moving parts.
there is a lot of good moving parts. We get to discuss it here every single week here on TLP Sports Club, just like we did this off season, and we brought in the season. Here we go again. So I'm gonna take this off my face, guys. Join TLP Live is covering my face. Join TLP Live at gmail.com. That's the email, guys. If you want to join the show, make sure you jot it down because there's going to be a lot of discussions here. Sometimes we might even dip into the non-football discussions because that's just what we do. Anyways, I'm taking it off my face before I ask these gentlemen the question. So, Tim, you said that his legacy had already started, but I feel like as far as Coach Prime's legacy, I feel like the coaching part of it had to be detached from his sons. Your thoughts, and then we'll ask CU Fan what his thoughts are.
Okay, so I look at it like this. His legacy started when he decided to start coaching his son's football team.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We can also say, this is just my opinion, but I feel like he started recruiting at Pee Wee League.
Mm.
He had a BJ Green early on that was at Arizona State that came over to play with Colorado his last year. He had Silman Craig at a young age that followed him to Jackson State. Now, take into consideration, Shiloh was at South Carolina, chose to come down and play with his dad at Jackson State. That's a recruitment. Regardless if that's his dad or not. That's still a recruitment move. Shedeur had offers to other colleges prior to going to Jackson State. Even though that's his dad, he still recruited him. Don't nobody know that their son or their child is going to be this amazing or athlete once they come out of the womb. Don't nobody know that. Not unless you the Manning or Watts family. They seem like they produce NFL players, but that's a whole nother topic. But also, Travis Hunter coming out of high school, all the offers in college football, but he chose to come to Jackson State over Ohio State, over Georgia. Another big recruiting move. So he was putting pieces to the puzzle together extremely to put him in a position to for his legacy to continue on, whether it's at the Pee Wee League, whether it's at high school, whether it's at the college level. He been piecing this puzzle together since Pee Wee League. So I feel like his legacy has already begun, and he's been a winning program. I mean, a winning coach at every level so far. Yes, he may have one bad year, but the next year they're a winning program. They're making it to a bowl game. We've seen this same show before at Jackson State. Now it's translating over to Colorado. And to me, the sky's the limit from here moving forward. Shiloh.
Okay.
Shedeur,
Don't take it all. Don't take it all.
I'm sorry.
Let's bring on CU fan so he can get some of this. So CU fan, what is his legacy going to ever be separated from his children, from his son? Are they going to start grading him now, or has he already been started? Has he already started being being graded? Your thoughts, please.
Yeah. So, his name and separation is going to be has already started. I mean, the fact that he's already recruiting for next year is already saying that his name is separated from his son's. I mean, the last name will never change, but his legacy on it is I'm agreeing with John Shaft, because that's my thoughts. Is that his legacy started way before when he ever started coaching, because he created his name, he created his image, he created everything he had, going to college, going to the NFL.
No, hold up. You're putting all the you're putting the player and the coach together, legacy wise. You're putting all that together.
Yeah, because of his image. His image is it. Colorado and Jackson State. He had an image. He already had this image, and he just brought it to the colleges, and he's continued with the image now. The way he acts, the way he is, the way he does things. That was prime. Always Flash. That's always been prime. So he brought that at a coaching perspective, and he just had that, and his legacy is continued. He just went from player to coach. That's all he's done. And he's recruited. His name, Deion Sanders, prime time, is what is doing a lot of his recruiting. His name is the reason, not what he's done on, not what he's exactly
hold
done.
on. Let me push back. Hold up. You do understand that a lot of coaches, a lot of previous players, even Hall of Famers, they start coaching, you never hear their name again. You never hear anything from them because they stink up the place and they disappear into oblivion. They don't do anything. So you're tying. Are you tying it together because he won, or because he's good at coaching as well? What if he wasn't as good at coaching? Would you be able to tie them together, or would you use that against him?
So I'm not saying he's not a good coach. Okay. What I'm saying is his name helped him become a good coach. His name accelerated his coaching because of what he's able to do as a player. So
That's an interesting take. Okay.
I'm not because if he was a no name and he just started coaching, would he really be able to get certain coaching positions of what he did? What would he? I mean, yes, he brought his son with him throughout his whole coaching career. But what I'm saying is his name accelerated to a point where he can be able to get where he's at right now. And I'm not taking away of his coaching ability. I'm just saying that his name alone brought a lot of people. Like who wants, like, what is he always saying? I'm prime time. I'm Coach Sanders. That name right there, I want to go play for Sanders because of everything that he is. I mean,
Okay.
I got some pushback to that last statement that you made, CU fan.
Okay.
What's your pushback before I bring Dre on? What's your pushback?
Okay, my pushback is Coach Prime. Yes, the name, we know him as Deion Sanders Prime Time for what he did in the NFL. Some know him for what he did at Florida State. That's a no-brainer. But there's also individuals that set up under Nick Saban and got big roles to major universities, like the Georgia head coach. He set up under Nick Saban, and then boom, all of a sudden he get the head coaching job at Georgia State. Coach Prime had to start, even though he's a high-profile name, still didn't get those same opportunities. He had to start from the lower tier level and work his way up. So the name Deion Sanders is I don't think that kids are coming there just because his name is Deion Sanders. Because if it was like that, then some of like the number one wide receiver in last year's class wouldn't have went to Alabama. He would have came to Colorado and played for Deion Sanders because of the name.
But Tim, I think it's fair to say, I think where I was hoping that he was going, where CU fan was going with, was that as a regular coach, he's not able to pull a shot, a Shedeur. He's not able to pull no Travis Hunter, right? So
exactly,
he's not able to pull no Jordan Seaton. So as a regular coach, just coaching, just starting out, if he just Joe Blow coach, right? He may not be able to pull the 5 stars. We would still be waiting to see how he becomes who he is. Maybe 5 years from now, maybe he's just like that good of a coach, and he coaches his way to where he's currently at. But I kind of see where he's going with it, you know, and I kind of agree to a certain degree. But I don't know about the name being so prevalent as far as the coaching, because I think I agree with Tim as saying, I don't think it's his name that got him to Colorado so much. I think it's the fact that he's winning when he goes. Wherever he goes.
I agree with what you're saying there. I mean, his work of art, his work that he's done has put him in a position to be at Colorado. But what I'm saying is, if you hear a lot of the recruits, who doesn't want to go play for primetime? Who doesn't, he's a.
So it's almost like you can't separate his name from what he's actually doing.
How can we fault him for his name?
Yeah. So,
Sanders, how can we fault him for his achievements?
Right. So I'm not taking that away from him, but what I'm saying is his name has helped him to be where he's at.
That I agree with. Okay, hold on, guys.
I agree with that.
Let's bring on Dre. Dre, welcome to the show. How you doing today, brother? I appreciate you calling in.
What's up, good, brother? Good. I'm good. You?
Good. You having a good day today, man?
Yeah. So far? Yeah. Good. God's good.
Coach Prime's legacy precedes and supersedes Shedeur, Shiloh, Travis Hunter, or has it started already, or is it about to start? Are we about to say, okay, now he got a clean slate? Or how do you feel? Does he get a clean slate right now and we start right now? Or has it already started and said, look, let's pile it on?
No. I think it already started. Just like I think where you guys was just at, as far as like, you can't separate the name
Mhm.
from the accomplishment. It's the same way. So you got to understand. So even when Prime, before he started coaching his sons, you know what I mean, he was coaching up younger men, you know, people who had NFL aspirations. So he's more than just, oh, I started coaching my son. No, remember, you know, he's been in broadcast. So even at the combine, he's given all this knowledge to these you know, potential NFL stars. So his legacy goes back so deep. It's not just with coaching. It's, you know, when you look at Prime, and you got to take that whole body of work into, you know, you got to take that into account. And so, like me, like I say, I think, you know, you can't separate. Like I said, if you get rid of Shedeur, and like I say, it's just going to be rinse and repeat, in my opinion. You know, Julian Lewis is going to come in, and then that's going to be his son. And then, like I say, what I'm looking at is that no matter where he goes, you know, he find a way to win. You know, and that goes, like I said, that says a lot about who he is and what he's instilling in these young men. And that I believe is that belief. And that's what, like me personally, that's what I'm going to know Prime for, is that, you know, no matter what he did, he always instilled belief in these kids. Even if, you know, a walk-on, do you believe in yourself to go out there and be great? And that's his legacy for me.
Okay, so the second question that I want to tackle is, do y'all think that Shedeur was the best quarterback in college football in this year, 2024, after now everything is settled? We've seen everybody. We've seen your favorites. We've seen the SEC quarterbacks. We've seen everyone. CU fan, let's try to keep this in 30 seconds so everybody can speak. But do you believe that Shedeur was the best quarterback in college football?
Yes, I do. And because of the fact that I think we've talked this before, where I said that he has had he's had some of the best receivers, but he hasn't had the best protection. But he had to do with what he had, and he made lemonade out of you know, lemons. So I think he was the best in the college this year, and I don't think any other quarterback has anything against on top of him.
Okay. Do you feel the same way, Tim Smith?
Yes, I think Shedeur was the best quarterback in college football, and here's the reason why. Everything CU fan stated, and then I'm just gonna add this on the top and shut up. He has by far been the best pocket quarterback in college football, being able to stand in the pocket, knowing that he's going to take a lick, but still keeping his eyes downfield and making those throws on point. His percentage rating, his PFF grades. This kid is ready for the next level with minor things that they're going to fix in the NFL, but by far the best college football player, quarterback football player coming out this year.
All right, Dre, how you feel? You feel the same, or you got a
No,
little bit of pushback?
I don't feel the same. Like how I look at that, I think, like, honestly, I think him and Cam Ward are like very similar, and I think you can tell that by you can tell that they share the same coach. But I think for me, I think Cam Ward has a better arm, and I think it's a reverse of what Tim was saying. I think he has a more better pocket presence than Shedeur. Now Shedeur is far more accurate, but I mean Cam Ward is accurate as well. Like for me, I think Cam Ward he's able to get away from these tackles, and I mean you can't take those sacks like that Shedeur take like every single game. Those are like just you can't do that in NFL, and I think Cam Ward is able to get away from those tackles and not take those big sacks such as like Shedeur does. So I would say Cam Ward has been slightly better.
So do you think he's going to die at Las Vegas? Because people are saying that Cam Ward's going to Las Vegas. He's going to go die out there.
Why would he die? Like, what do you mean?
Figure of speech, right?
Yeah, I get what I'm saying. Like, why? I assume you're saying he's not going to be successful. So why do you think he wouldn't be successful then?
Many have tried in Las Vegas. Not many have succeeded.
Well, I mean, someone has to go do it, right? Why not Cam Ward, or why not Shedeur?
Right. Speaking of Cam, not Ward, but Newton, he has some things to say about Coach Prime. I don't know how I really took this conversation, but I don't know if it was premature, if it's something that we all know and been thinking. I've obviously have said a lot on this channel, but I want to play it and play some of it. And I want you guys to tell me if you agree, disagree, or you're indifferent. Some of y'all probably already saw this, heard this, but let's play a little bit of it, and then you guys tell me what y'all think.
Nobody in here can say you gave the maximum effort. You gave it all you could. It's nobody. And you see the result. See, the problem is you got intoxicated with success. And success is intoxicating. You start believing what they're saying. You start listening more to what they're saying. You bought into all that foolishness that you were this. And you went out there and we got home. Coaches, players, everyone, we went out there and got humbled. But it is what it is.
For those of y'all who don't know what this clip is from, this is the post game. I believe it was post game from the Kansas game. Coach Prime and his team were being crowned as the top of the Big 12. All they had to do was win out. They were just 2 games away. We were all here. We were all hopeful. Just crossing our fingers. Oh, we were relaxed. Come on now. Let's tell the truth. All right. If those kids went out there and played the way that we know that they could play, we would have been sitting here talking about Colorado in the playoffs and possibly beating Miami or one of your world winners. But anyway, that's where this conversation is coming from. I'm a little bit sore and I'm a little bit like my heart hurts a little bit because I feel like for all things considered, if you're talking business, Colorado needs to be in that playoffs. There's no way you leave the best team, America's team, out the playoffs and they're 9-3. Okay. Calm down, Harry.
Where you go from here? Where you go from here? Like, where do you go from here? That's the critical thing. What do you do with this moment? What do you glean from this moment? What do you learn from this moment? Where do we go from here? Because this moment just ain't about football. This is about life. And this is a tremendous life lesson. Let's learn from it. Let's learn from it and grow from it. The question is, guys, I'm going to ask you one last time. Where do you go from here? God bless.
The greatest gem in college football as a whole, I would even say history. You probably think Nick Saban. Probably would think Kirby Smart. You probably would think Jimbo Fisher. You probably would think
YouTube, this is a reaction video. Please do not take my money away. Even though it's a low $2, this is a reaction, okay? Please don't copyright strike me. I'm reacting to this, or we are reacting to this.
Dabo. You probably would think Bobby Bowden. You probably would think.
Hey, Peter Investor, what's up, Peter? Hope all is well, man. John Shaft, Texas two-step. What up? TH, what up?
Lou Holtz.
Bear Bryant.
Pat Dye. Auburn. But all those coaches was white. If you give a black coach the magnitude of Deion Sanders, the resources, I guarantee you college football ain't ready for that. I promise you that.
Why you say that?
Just to let y'all know, we've been saying that here on TLP Sports Club, that this is one of the reasons why they try to hold him back. Don't start winning. We said this, but let's keep listening, guys. It's not about me. This is about him right now. Go ahead, Cam Newton.
It's a thing that they call relatability. And when Deion Sanders walk into your living room versus Kirby Smart walking into your living room, I can get to the same place, and that's the NFL. And it's a lot of times coaches are like ministers. You choose your church not because of the message that they're telling you. It's the belief that what they're telling you, you believe in. They read it from the same book.
He almost lost me on this one, but I was like, okay, maybe you're making a little bit of sense.
They telling you the same thing. In the beginning, God created the
heavens and earth.
They teaching the same books, Deuteronomy, Leviticus, 1 Thessalonians, 2 Thessalonians, all that. But what goes a little deeper than that? That's why Deion Sanders is the greatest gym in college football history. I ain't gonna sugarcoat it.
Okay, come on.
So when I'm making my takes on First Take, and I'm saying, bro, if I was Florida State, I would empty the clip, because if Deion Sanders had a bag that spares no expense, college football ain't never seen that. We used to the Kirby Smarts, the Nick Sabans, the Bobby Bowdens, the Jim Trussels, the Pete Carrolls. These coaches that were the coaches, they were relatable. Who's more relatable than Deion Sanders, especially the economic situation of most players?
But let me ask you this though, Cam, because some people might be saying you're getting a little ahead, as he's the most, what you said, the biggest gym in college history.
Man, listen.
But what do people say? He ain't won nothing yet though.
With what?
But he ain't won. But let's break it down. He went to Jackson State. He won the SWAC, but he didn't win the national championship even on HBCU level.
Oh man!
Now he's Power 5. Colorado, they're not even going to make the playoffs to win the national championship. He might win a bowl game. So before you giving out this, like, what would you say to that person? Like, he ain't won it. All those people are proven winners. Now, I'm not saying in their second year they won, but I'm saying they have edged their name in history. What would you say to the people of saying that? It's like he's a bigger gym than them and he hasn't won anything?
Just tell me when you're ready.
I'm ready. Go ahead.
All right. So Cam is going to have his answer. We'll listen to his answer in a little bit, but I want my panel to tackle this a little bit. It's a lot to take in, right? Because obviously, you know what I'm saying? Like, we love Prime around here. We literally call ourselves bandwagon buffs because of Prime. But is Cam going a little too far, too soon? See you, fan. You go first. No. Let me go backwards this time. Dre, you go first, please.
Oh yeah. No. I think he had a lot of good stuff in there, and I agree with a lot of the stuff that he said. Like, okay. So for example, for the one thing that he said, like, if you think about it, if you just take a lot of these black coaches, man, they go into like the worst possible situations. Like, you know, there's a black coach right now at Purdue. He went into a horrible situation, and now he's losing his job. Like, you can't win when you don't have the players, you don't have the resources. And the same thing with Prime. You know, he went to Jackson State, don't have nearly the amount of resources. And then it just seemed to me like, you know, a lot of these bigger coaches, these, you know, and we can just say it, these white coaches, they go into like far better situations than, you know, these typically black coaches. And as far as like, and I agree with him as well. Like, if you take Prime, and then if you take, let's say, a Nick Saban, I agree, like, relatability to someone who looks exactly like you and been through like some of the same struggles you've been through, I think Prime will relate more as well. But I mean, there still needs to be a proof of concept, right? You still need to go out there and win and show. But if you give Prime the same resources and the same amount of time, and like I said, I think he can get to where they are as well. But it's time. And I can tell you like what he meant by, as far as like, you know, you go to this one church, they all have the same message. So like, let's say, for example, you take an inner city kid, right? Inner city black kid, right? And then you go put that kid in front of a big city church, right? They would probably relate more. But then if you go take that same inner city kid and take him to like a country church preaching the same stuff, you know, Leviticus, Deuteronomy, they probably wouldn't be able to relate to that type of culture. And I think that's what he's trying to say. And so, no, I agree with all what he said. I think it's some good stuff. But then, like I say, for me, like I said, you still have to have that proof of concept. And like I say, I think that comes with time. And if Prime stick around with that time, I think you'll see a lot more kids who want to come to Colorado, because there will be a proof of concept. And, you know, you can get to the NFL. You know, this year is going to prove that you can get to the NFL from Colorado, even though they come from like a terrible program. And where he's building it, like I say, I'm 100% on board.
I feel like this conversation gets a little bit jolting, and it's a little weird when you're a Prime fan, because at the end of the day, you're like, you want to give your guy the accolades. You know what he's capable of doing if he had the resources, like Cam said. But yeah, a lot of people are going to be grading him on wins and losses, and he ain't got there yet. Like it's like he's like a Carmelo Anthony, right? Almost a Dwayne Wade, right? Until LeBron, right? Like, He's like a Carmelo Anthony. He did everything. Took his college basketball team to the national chip and won it as a freshman, I believe. I mean, he's an Olympic, he's an Olympic gold medalist. He's a lot of things, but he never went to the Holy Land. He never went to that glory. That he never did it. Went to that peak. So Prime is being like, okay, you went to Jackson State, you went to the Celebration Bowl twice, you didn't win once. People are going to be grading him based on that. So Tim, I come to you and I say, is this too soon, too early to be doing this? Because then we're starting to fire again, and which might be good for my channel, but is it good for Prime until those young kids? Tim, help us out here, Tim. This may not be good, Tim.
It's gonna be good, man.
Okay.
What Cam is saying,
TH says it's far too early, but go ahead.
Right. He's spot on. What Dre just stated.
Are you saying he's spot on because you're a Deion fan, or do you believe the nuances of what he's talking?
Prime is relatable. He's very relatable. That's all he's saying.
Yeah, he's relatable, and this is all Cam's saying is.
Well, we got a black guy at Notre Dame. He's relatable, isn't he?
He has the resources.
Paul. A lot. Yeah, Notre Dame a lot of resources. Yeah.
That's independent school. They're not in anybody's conference. They're people that graduate. They pay into that school, so they have the bag. So, what I'm saying, if Prime had the resource, if he had Notre Dame money, if he had Texas A&M money, if he had Texas money, Alabama, Georgia, he can win the Super Bowl in college. You heard what I just said? He can win the Super Bowl.
You guys better stop right now, okay? No, stop doing this to me. You're giving me a heart attack.
He has the name, image, and likeness. All he needs is the bag. If he gets the bag to go along with that name, image, and likeness, he'll win the Super Bowl. But pivot to what he's talking about, the minister thing. Every coach, and majority of them are white, Caucasian. So they come into your living room. It's the same story about what we can do for your child, how we can get them, help them get to the next level, which is the NFL. All they are recruiters. They don't care really nothing about your child, whether they go off campus and mess up their career.
That's not fair, Tim. Come on, man. Let me speak for the white people. Let me talk for the white people. That's not fair to say, man.
Let me land the plane.
I got white friends, man. Be careful. White people care for us.
I got a lot of them. So, but what I'm saying is they come into your living room, and some of them don't care about what your child's going to get into once they get to college. They only care about securing their job position. Vice versa.
I'll give you a big percentage, but not a lot, man. I can't.
You'll be amazed. You will be amazed. You will be amazed. Trust me. But what I'm saying is, Coach Prime, he knows everybody, like he stated in some of those everybody not going to make it in this room to the NFL. That's facts. But I can help you put yourself in position to be successful after college. So after college, when that last down is snapped, what are you going to do with your life? Are you going to go back to the streets? Go back to the same hood and let somebody get in your ear and mess up your whole entire life? You either in prison or in the graveyard? That's what Cam is talking about on that. Like, he's saving a lot of young black males and giving them free game outside of football that they're not going to get from some of them other schools. I promise you. I bet everything on it.
Man, look, I'm not playing no devil's advocate. You don't have to be a devil to really understand that there are coaches like Saban and Chip Kelly and all these white guys that really, they have a good heart. I can't say Prime, being a black man, is the only person that can reach a black guy, a black child. But CU fan, before I bring on DC, let me get your thoughts on this. You get your 30 seconds.
Hey, can I say something real quick?
Yeah. Go. Sorry.
Okay. You just stated, I think Nick Saban and them have a good heart. Yes, they
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
But those are to the players that's winning them games, Harry. Trust
No,
me,
no, no. Hey Tim,
I
I feel like it's a heavy thing to say when you say, "Oh, Prime and black coaches are the only ones that can relate and look out for black players." I just feel like that the stories would not support that,
I
because
don't
when
think
you
he's
hear
saying
some of the stories from some of these players, they cry when they think about their coach, like Nick Saban or somebody on the man. Like, I was going through a lot, and Nick Saban looked out for me. Like, I feel like the stories would not support. I know we like Prime, but I feel like the stories are not going to be 100% supportive of the positions that we have based on this topic. That's the only thing that I'm saying. But let's get CU fan in here. Let me get your thought, man. You got your 30 seconds. Go.
Yeah, I agree and disagree with what Cam Newton's saying. I think he is a coach for the black people. No other black coach can do what he's doing right now. And when you have a black coach to come tell you that you're someone, not just a player, you're actually a person that can be successful in life, not just as a player but in life. That right there resonates with a lot of people, because, especially with those people that are coming from not so best conditions. And I've always enjoyed his message. His message has always been about positivity and creating men and players, but men first before players. And that's one of the things that I enjoy what he's saying, that message. Now, the whole biblical perspective of what he's talking about, um, I, I don't like the what he's talking about the whole biblical perspective, but I will say that he can be a messenger, and you said it, Harry, that uh, he may never reach the promised land. Well, I mean, there's a lot of great people in the Bible that never reached the promised land.
Moses never reached the
Moses, yeah,
promised land.
Moses was a great leader, went through a lot to get to what he was at, and never reached the promised land. But yet in the Bible, it talks about him and God were like best friends. So to me, um, I Prime to me is more than an icon for these players. And is he a gem? Yes, he is, because um, a lot of other coaches out there. I believe someone said it, that there's a lot of black coaches out there that get into positions that, as head coaches and die, and that's the truth. They never they never make it out. They get fired, whatever the case may be. But Prime has this aura around him. This, like, everybody wants to be part of what he's doing, except the jealous people, the haters. But even the haters tend to turn around. I mean, we've seen it. A lot of haters have quieted down. Even some of the casters from ESPN, they're turning around and started saying, okay, well, I mean, yeah, he did something this year, So to me, yes, he is a gem. He is someone that people will look up to, players, and I love hearing the message. The message is that we're going to make you into a man, and then a player.
Hey,
All
here,
right.
can I say something quickly before
Yeah. I gotta bring DC on. He's been waiting patiently in the green room. But go ahead.
Yeah. So I guess so if you listen to what Cam Newton is saying, so he's not being dogmatic. He's not saying that, okay, only Prime can relate and other coaches can't. Like, even if you're white, I think when he's talking about Prime, he's saying, okay, look, Prime can relate in a sense that, okay, I grew up very familiar with you. A lot of these inner city kids, a lot of these black kids who are in football. Like, I think he's talking about in that aspect. I can relate to you. I'm a black man. I grew up very similar to how you grew up. Tough situation.
That's a good point. That's a good
Yeah,
point.
not that. Oh, Nick Saban can relate, because I wholeheartedly think Nick Saban and all these other coaches relate to their players as well. But I think he's just taking that approach, and not being dogmatic about it. So just the same way he's not being dogmatic about the whole church thing. So all he's saying is that, and I agree that all he's saying is that, okay, I'm from Chicago, right? I grew up in the inner city of Chicago. So if you go place me in a place where, you know, let's say these people, they have the same doctrine, right? But if you go place me in somewhere in Redneck City, I'm not going to be able to relate to that because it's not the type of culture that I'm used to. So that's what he's saying. He's not being dogmatic about it. It's just saying like, hey, he's more relatable because he can relate more to that culture of where these people come from. A majority of the people who's playing in college, these black kids. So that's all he's saying. There's nothing dogmatic about it, and I don't think it is.
Understood. DC, welcome to the show, brother. How you doing today? I appreciate you calling in always. How you, man?
I'm doing pretty good, brother. How about you?
All is well, man. All is well. We're 3 questions in now. Now we're dealing with Cam Newton. You missed 2 questions because you had other life stuff to do. Thank you for taking care of your own life.
I appreciate that.
This show is not your number 1 priority. I get it, but now we're on Cam Newton and we're talking about what he's talking about. Is there some truth in what Cam is saying? Because you know what, I have said something similar on this channel that if you give Prime what Prime needs to be who he is and how charismatic and how bombastic he is and the type of leader he is, he's a man of men. He's a man of men. Does Cam have some truth in what he's saying, or is this too soon, too early? Should we not do this because we feel like, oh Lord, here we go again? The off-season narratives are starting to spin again, and we're gonna get right back into where we were. What are your thoughts on that, please?
I think it's too soon, but I do think there's aspects of Prime that can attract certain kind of players that need Prime. But here's the thing: I'm gonna level set, folks. Is that being military? We take folks from the country, we take them off the tractor, and we take them off the block, and we make them men and women. So you don't necessarily have to relate to somebody to get them to greatness. And I do understand that, Prime is a great figure in our community, but there's one path of success. And sometimes the people that relate to you can harm you because they're trying to relate versus shaking you up. You got to come out of that and get into this because this is going to make you successful. Some successful. Some of those habits are not going to make you successful. So you get to see another angle of what success looks like in perspective. So we got to be careful in our community that we don't go, hey, this is the format. And I know that's not what people are saying. It's saying is that, like, I had a old Southern white 2-star general that was my mentor, one of my mentors, and taught me a ton of stuff. I would not have been a pilot because y'all had to pick it out. Ain't a whole lot of black folks who look like me up in the sky wiggling sticks. I'd like to see more. The point being is that back to football, Prime is great. It's what he does, and he's doing a great job, and he's on the right path. But unfortunately, he's only got 100-something slots. And other people are out there that are giving those kids some of the same things, because Colorado is not the only singular path to the NFL. But he's a great guy, and he's what part of college football needs a coach like Prime.
Let's take a look, listen to what his answer was when the gentleman asked him, "Hey man, is this too soon?" Let's take a look at what Cam said, and then we'll circle back and get some more thoughts on this. Let's take a listen. Okay, hold on. Let me put it back. I'm sorry, I didn't put it back on the screen. Let me put it back on the screen. But yeah, I mean, I like where this is going. I like the different perspectives, and thank you, DC, for adding that other perspective, because I was thinking as you were talking, I'm thinking, okay, that's an interesting perspective, because sometimes, depending on who it is, you may not want to go into certain environments because you're too familiar with those environments, and it may get you into trouble. You may want to step outside of your familiar environment, like, the dice stories and the other stories that try to like peek their heads out. Some of those stories may not be good for you, depending on who you are. So some of y'all may want to go to that 2-star white general like Coach Dillingham. You might want to go to Coach Dillingham because he needs to teach you something different, show you a different environment, but still give you the same type of leadership information that Coach Prime is giving you. Because you don't need to be in that environment. You might get into fights. You know, I'm just saying, it's just a different way to listen. You know what I'm saying? It may not be good for certain players, but let's listen.
So you take Deion to Alabama.
No,
you take
I know he don't want to go to Alabama. I wouldn't want to go to Alabama if I was Deion Sanders. You give Deion Sanders Alabama's resources at another team and watch what the hell he do. And he's even more dangerous because now if his sons leave, now he can really show how great of a coach he is.
That's going to be
because it's not no more crime with passion. There's no more passionate. He can recruit unbiasedly. He can play people unbiasedly. He can get the good guys in here. It's a business at the end of the day.
Yeah.
That's an interesting point that he makes there. What does he mean by he can recruit unbiasedly? Because he's touching on something that I feel like he's touching on something that either we talked about, but has his recruiting been? Let's talk about this real quick before we move forward. Has his recruiting been linked to his sons? Let's start with DC. We'll go backwards this time. We'll start with DC. So yeah, what does he mean there by unbiasedly? How is he being biased for his sons?
I think what he's saying is that
I don't know if it's me or your audio went.
Can y'all hear me?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
So what it's saying, he can come in and get, basically get players and not have to worry about, perception and that kind of stuff. I think, like, he can play his sons, of course, because people expect him to play their son. I can promise you that may not go well in other places. So I think that what he's saying is that Coach Prime has a way of recruiting that because of who he is, it allows him to do things that other people would not be able to do.
Dre, what are your thoughts? Let's try to keep this one to 20 seconds because I want to play more of this. But what do you mean? What does he mean by unbiasedly?
I'm not sure what he mean by that. Like, I mean, I don't really have an answer like what he means. Okay.
Let's go to Tim. Tim, do you know what he's talking about here when he says? Because I feel like he's touching on something here. He's touching on something that we've probably talked about here when he says he can recruit unbiasedly. Because I feel like people are always going to judge him when his sons are there. Because everybody had this whole daddy ball situation. Like if a player can play and you play them, because his son could play. That's the one thing that we forgot to really say. His son could really play. So it was a little bit difficult watching some things, but if his son was doing poorly, he would not sit him down. He would sit other people down. But is that tied to what he's saying?
I think so, but this is just me speculating, but I feel like he brought in some quarterbacks, but we all know his son's gonna play. So, but he didn't bring in those top dog quarterbacks, which I don't think they would have set behind Shedeur anyway. But we always talk about we bringing in people to compete. Well, certain positions, you brought in Will Shepherd or whatever, but you didn't bring in a lot of dogs that can compete, but a lot of people can't compete with Travis Hunter anyway. But like the safety position, you didn't try to go in the portal and grab a bunch of nice safeties that can compete with your son. So that's my opinion about bias.
That's a good point, because if you look at it, you're like, wait a minute. To prove a point to a quarterback that is playing poorly, right? To prove a point to that quarterback, you will say, oh, okay, so you're going to throw an interception in the first play, you're sitting down. I'm going to put in Arch Manning. You want to play around with me? I'm putting in Arch Manning. Let you think about that very first throw, knowing that you did that. He not knowing that his sons are going to the NFL and they need their draft and all that stuff. I don't know that anybody would have ever taken Shedeur's spot or Shiloh's spot. So you feel you got something for 20 seconds, or you want me to keep playing this clip?
No, I got something. So I believe the unbiased is basically the whole perspective of his sons. Like he went out to get certain positions at the highest position he can. Like look at all the wide receivers that he got for his son. He tried to get the best line that he could for his son because he knew what was happening to his son, Shedeur. Same thing can be said about his other son. And the unbiased there is the whole perspective of what we've talked about. You know, that a lot of people talking about Daddy Ball, and he's only doing this kind of scheme because of his son and not doing any other scheme. There's a lot of a biased perspective of that. But now that we have separation of the son, we're going to truly see what Deion can do.
That's okay. Good point. All right. Let's let Kim finish his thought. Maybe he will provide the answer we were looking for.
And we got to touch on that because
so that's a great point. Yes, but has he not won everywhere that he's been?
He has won.
The name of the game that Deion Sanders has been able to do, and it started with one person. He's been able to lure top tier talent. Name me a more higher recruit to say, I ain't gonna go to Florida State, which he was committed to. I ain't gonna go to Ohio State, which he had offer from. I ain't gonna go to University of Georgia, which he had offers from. I'm gonna go to Jackson State. Jackson is in Mississippi. I'm gonna bypass this NIL bag because when Deion Sanders walked into my living room and when he texted me, it just meant to look different. I may not have ever seen Deion Sanders play. I may not ever heard that. Must be the money. I may not ever seen none of that. But one thing that I did know is that was the most impactful player of his time. And that's a fact. And that's the thing people don't understand. See, what makes the Kirbys, the Nick Sabans, the Dabos, the Hugh Freezes of the world, what makes them have their right to speak to you in the regard that they're speaking to is because of what they've been able to accomplish as a coach. You don't hear me, Peggy.
I hear you.
The difference between
like Phil so real.
Prime is he can look at you and he can give you an honest opinion because he actually did it as a player.
I've been where you're trying to go.
Phil, is this you? Why this looking like Phil?
If you're a man, these
okay, I don't know what these
three are the only fragrances you need this year. Agar Gold, inspired by Tom Ford's Outwood. Cherry.
Yes,
Now,
I do wear expensive cologne. Yes,
the blueprint to tell you how to get there.
5-star recruit. I was a 5-star recruit. Primetime player.
All right, so that's enough. Thank you, Kim. Hopefully YouTube would not, cause me to have to clip that whole conversation that we just had with Cam Newton. Hopefully he wouldn't. But it seems like a lot of you guys think that it's not too soon. Like, some of it is warranted. And I do believe that I think from this perspective, guys, from this perspective only, because of who he is, because of who Prime is, right? That if it's specifically because of him, if you give him a bag, I don't know that the other guys can keep up. So let me get final thoughts on that, and then we'll move on from this conversation because I got other questions I need y'all to answer for me. We got Heisman stuff to talk about, guys. We going to 1 o'clock, so we got some time to fill. So, Tim, we're talking about specifically because it's not a black or white thing. It's Prime. If you give Prime the bag, these other coaches would not be able to keep up. Black or white doesn't matter. Like later on in the video, like he said something about Nick Saban, like Prime can smoke Nick Saban if X, Y, and Z. Like, if it's just Prime that we're talking about, just because of the character, because of the personality, because of who he is, Prime. If you give him a bag, nobody else can keep up.
I think if you give him the bag, he'll be able to recruit and get a lot more better players. Yes, I agree with that. But that doesn't necessarily mean that everybody's going to choose him just because he has the bag and he's Coach Prime. Some of the kids, they realize that, okay, his system doesn't fit with my system, my style of play. So I'm going to go over here to Alabama. I'm going to go over here to Georgia. But overall, if he has that bag, he's gonna be big. He's gonna be able to pull in better players than what he has right now.
So at TH, I was about to type it, but since Tim gave me the space, I think this is the TH says Texas has a bag, Oregon has a bag, etc. Do they win? See, that's the point that we're trying to make right here. Texas is not prime. Oregon is not prime. We're saying if you give prime the bag, prime has been trying to do this grassroots. Prime has been trying to. He's been doing this with a little bit of his name and a little bit of bag that's coming from Jackson State. Jackson State had $28, guys.
Yeah.
Jackson State's entire budget was y'all remember the show we did when we talked about Jackson State's budget last year? Jackson State had $5. No money, zero money, no money. Okay, and Prime was able to bring his son, right? That was his son. So, but he had to convince his son to come play, right? So Prime had to bring his son and Travis Hunter with no money. So the little bit that he's been able to work with, TH, is the reason why Cam Newton is saying, and is the reason why I wanted to tackle this again, because this is not my first time tackling this type of topic. But that's the reason. That's what we're talking about. Because Prime, you give him the NIL money, and he's able to go out there and get some dogs. And it's a little bit daunting. It's a little bit weird when you talk about, he can get some better players. It's not like all those other guys weren't good players. But I just feel like he had too many holes to fill that weren't there. You can get 2 or 3 Cheetos. You can get 2 or 3 Shedeurs. You can get 2 or 3. Imagine having the luxury of stacking 5-star quarterbacks, and they're gonna stay put. If you're Texas, you got an Arch Manning sitting on the bench waiting to play. Like, imagine having that luxury. Imagine Prime having the luxury of Texas and Oregon, and those players are just willing to just sit there. Imagine that. Imagine Prime with all of that.
But hold on, Harry. All right, so here go my pushback on that one.
Good. I'm ready for a pushback. Somebody challenged me this morning.
All right, because when we start using absolutes, basically saying ain't nobody gonna be able to compete with him, that's not going to be a true statement. Will he be actually competitive and up there near the top? But I'm gonna tell you, money doesn't make you a good team. Ohio State paid more money than anybody else on the NIL, and they still lost to Michigan. Texas A&M got big dollars. They still are not in the SEC championship and struggle. So at the end of the day is, you can have big money, but that does not necessarily, because I'm going to tell you what might get Coach Prime. It won't be the money. It'll be what coaches want to come sit on that staff. You have to take that into that right now he's getting coaches, but we certainly can't sit there and say that Schumer is as good as a Chip Kelly that's at at Ohio State. And we got to take a look at that. Is that it don't just take Prime. Prime will always be able to get talent just by name alone, and the bag will help him. But there's levels to this thing.
Well, Prime can get like one. Prime can get like one, but we need to start stacking them, because the fall off is too much. The fall off when you have to sit your top guy right now is too much. So we can credit Prime with 1 or 2, but we can't credit him with the stacking. You feel me? Like when Shedeur leaves, the fall off is too much. So we get an Arch Manning, we get another quarterback that's like, we know that he's gonna stay. I think that's most of what we're talking about. But keep in mind now, we're talking Prime. We're not talking like some of these other guys. Do we believe? The question is, do we really believe that he's a good coach, or we think that he's gonna be like a Dan Snyder, where he's gonna stack a bunch of players and still not win? Are we talking about him coaching, or are we talking about just stacking a bunch of players you can't do nothing with?
Yeah, Harry. So okay. As far as like DC go, DC, we absolutely can say Schumer is on the same level as a Chip Kelly at Ohio State. They're not happy with Chip Kelly at Ohio State right now. They want that man to be up out of there. Their fans.
Didn't Syracuse beat him?
What? No, Syracuse beat Miami.
Not Syracuse, but who just beat what's the name?
Michigan.
Michigan just beat them. Right. I'm sorry. Not Syracuse.
Their offenses, the way he's utilizing that offense out there in Ohio State is beyond criminal. Like it's insane. Like you got all the weapons on offense, and you're trying to run the ball. Like you got deep receivers who should be killing these guys. But yeah, Chip Kelly, yeah. But what I'm saying, this is what I'm saying. I'm saying that, if you give Prime the same resources money-wise, right? Because at the end of the day, like we're in the NIL era. So we can't just say money don't matter, because it absolutely does. So like, kids are going to say like, okay, who's going to be coaching me? And then the final thing they're going to say, what does the money look like? And if you can't so what people need to keep in mind is that when Prime, they have to operate within a budget. They're not a Texas A&M. They're not Ohio State. They have a budget that they have to operate in.
A small budget, man. That budget is small.
Yeah, I'm saying they had to go out there and get the best talent that they could. And I do have pushback on the whole thing that he went and got an offensive line for Shedeur. Only. That makes no sense. If Shedeur went down, there's going to be another quarterback who's going to be utilizing that same offensive line, that same receiving core. So it's not just for Shedeur. It's for the team to win. They went out, tried to get the best talent. They stacked talent at receiver. They was trying to stack talent on the offensive line, young talent as well. Now, if you want to say quarterback, then sure. Like, yeah, like what?
He was not stacking that quarterback, that's for sure.
Like, what quarterback you think is going to come out there and do it? Like, I mean, and like the quarterback that was available, these guys want to be starters. Like, Cam, like all of these guys want to be starters. So, but I do think, like I say, the resources matter. But I'm not going to be and say like, okay, Prime is the only one can do it. I think if you give Prime the same resources, then all you're asking for is like you're going to be in a conversation. So Texas A&M, Texas, Oregon, they have the biggest bags. They're always going to be in a conversation, right? You know what I'm saying? Like Texas A&M, they was one game away from going to the SEC championship. Oregon is going to be there. Ohio State is still going to be in the playoff, even though they lost. But that money that they got these players, they're still in the conversation. And if you give Prime those same resources, I think he will be in the conversation because he'll be able to get better players.
But it's because you're saying it's because he's prime, right? Because he's prime, not because he's black. Like because he's prime.
You get rid of the color. Like, I mean, you take, like Prime is Prime. Get rid of like black, white. I'm not saying anything about like what he looks like. I'm saying he's relatable in the sense that he's been to the NFL. His brand, he has a brand that people recognize.
And he can coach. Let's not forget the fact that he can actually coach.
But hold on one second. I got a question.
I got a little pushback on that.
I just have a question. As you're saying that, Dre.
Hold on, DC. So remember what I said. There has to be a proof of concept. And now that he's proven that he can win 9 games, you got to keep building. That's what I'm saying.
My question was, you saying if you give him the same resources, who's gonna give it to him?
I don't know what I'm saying. That's what he's building. That's what he's building. If he
I like what you're doing, DC. I like that. You're like he got to leave, but y'all don't want him to leave. I see what you're doing there, DC.
So, for example, let's say no. Who's going to give it to him? Let's say, for example, he's doing it a lot of by himself. So let's say, for example, he get a billionaire, whoever, a Colorado alumni who's a billionaire, who can give them that money. So you don't think he'll be able to get more better, bigger talent than he has right now? And he has someone like an Oregon who can just write a blank check?
I will say that we say who's going to give it to him.
No. We're not saying give it to him. I just lay out.
Right, but my question is, with all the TV money, which of course most TV money is split between within the conference. So no matter how many people that watch Colorado, it's that Houston gonna still get the same amount of money at the end of the day.
Right.
On the TV money. So my question being is, if you're saying if we give it to them, well, apparently from what I'm understanding, Colorado has all this money, so why haven't they gave it?
No, I won't say give it. Let's say that if he had the same resources. So let's take Oregon, right? Who's giving Oregon money? They have a big donor, right? They have a big donor. That's what I'm saying. Donors, the people who can do this. So I'm saying if Colorado had like a donor, like a Oregon, you don't think they'll be able to compete on an NIL level to compete with an Oregon, Ohio State to pay these guys out? You don't think they could?
What? Well, yeah. I agree. But I mean, if was all that. I mean, Meg Stallion would be my chauffeur.
But that's
I'm messing with you. I'm messing with you on that one. But I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
Apple to a cornflake. What I'm saying is that, if you have more resources, like you should be able to make something happen if you have more resources. Not saying that you would, but just in theory. So if you give Prime, and I think Prime thing is like, okay, you got a lot of these players. So we will say like a lot of the good players in college come from Georgia, Florida, those southern states. I would agree with that. And then like to try to get these people way out to Colorado, I think he's battling. I mean, that's a battle within itself. But I'm saying like give him the money and people, like I say, because at the end of the day, if the money don't make sense for these big time players, you can't compete. You're just not going to be able to compete. Hence, Clemson, they don't even want to go into the portal. And now, like I say, they just, I don't know. I think you give him if he's able to get the resources from
the coach is going to hang himself with his own comments.
Hey, Harry, can I throw something in there real quick?
Well, no, guys, CU fan actually wanted to come in here, but Dre, you finish your thought. Let me get CU fan in after you finish.
Oh yeah, I'm good. I'm just saying, like, you give any coach with like resources, not just Prime. I think, like I said, if they're a good manager of money and know what they look for and what they need, I think they'll be able to go out there and get some good players. If it makes sense, like I say, those players come.
Go ahead, CU fan. What did you want to put?
Yeah,
you had a comment.
Yeah, I have two pushbacks. Okay, so first pushback is the comment about take the color out of the whole thing. You can't take the color out of the whole thing. He's a black coach. No, well, hold on. Let me speak. You can't take the color out of the thing because he's a black coach. He does things as a black coach that you'll never see a white coach do. What, we're gonna see a Vanilla Ice out there? Come on. He's got flash. He's got so many other things that he brings to the table that a white coach wouldn't be able to do. He's got things that are absolutely, as a black coach, can be relatable. His culture, his music. Look at what he does inside the locker rooms. You see other white coaches doing that in the locker room? No, because of the fact that he's that type of coach, that type of black coach. So that's my pushback on that. The second pushback is on the offensive line. Yes, he did go after it. He said it since the previous one. He got tired of seeing his son on the back. At one point, he turns into a father, and he has to go get that line specifically for his son. He said it multiple times.
Because his son is the quarterback. Like, if his son went down, who's going to utilize that offensive line? If your offensive line is
exact point, though, he went to get it for his son. The bias.
It's not just
okay. Hold on, CU fan. Let me step in real quick because I think the point that Dre's trying to make is what happens if a coach see his like, okay, let's take Noah Fafita for example at Arizona. He was Shedeur 2.0 this year. He's getting killed. So if the coach goes out and says, I need to protect Fafita, if Fafita decides to stay and the coach says, hey, I need to protect Fafita, then isn't that the same thing that Dre's talking about? The fact that you're bringing in a quarterback, a line to protect Fafita, but that line is also supposed to protect the entire quarterback's room.
Yes, I agree with that. But the perspective is that he made it very clear that he was getting it for his son.
Because his son is the quarterback. We all knew his son
is the quarterback.
But there's the bias, though. That's what I'm talking about.
If any,
because he's talking about specifically about his son. He didn't say, I'm going to get it for the entire team. He said specifically for his son. Like, there's a whole bias perspective of it.
Let me ask you this question. Like, when they go out there and practice, is Shedeur the only one utilizing that offensive line?
No, it's everybody.
Right. So you can't say it just for his son. Like, if let's say Staub was the quarterback, if Staub got beat up like Shedeur did, I will go and get a new offensive line as well. Better players to protect my quarterback. It's not just about Shedeur. It's about protecting your quarterback, getting the best offensive line to protect the quarterback, no matter who that is. If you don't have a quarterback, you're going to struggle. It's not just Shedeur. It's not just, he went and got receivers for Shedeur. That's insane. Because if Shedeur goes down, you know what? Staub is going to utilize those same receivers. He went and got those receivers, that offensive line for the team, not just Shedeur.
Right, because that's QB1. I mean,
Yes.
regardless of how he said it, even though he said his son or whatever, I think that's the point.
You're
The point
going to tell me that he wasn't biased and say, I'm going to go get the best for my son. You're going to tell me
it's
that.
okay because his son is the quarterback. So it's the
Well,
same
yeah,
thing.
that's
It's
what
the
I'm
same
saying. That's what Cam Newton's saying. Without the bias, because that's exactly what he did. He went
Would
to
you
try
rather-
to go get the best wide receiver. He went to get the best offensive lines for
Would
his
you
son.
What if he just said, I'm going to get the best offensive line for the quarterback, knowing
But he
that
didn't.
quarterback. What's the difference? There's no difference.
Yes, there is a difference because when you look at QB, when you say QB1, I am going to go get the best offensive line for this team to be able to perform out there. He didn't say that. He said, I'm going to go get the best line I can for my son.
No, okay, that's semantics. Like, because we know his son is it's QB1.
Keep going to QB1 again. We're talking about bias here, and he's been biased from the get-go. He talks about his son so much in his interviews in regards. That's not indicative of Shedeur. He's not like that.
Okay.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
No, I don't.
Always
okay.
biased.
So look. So KMS says that he said we have the best quarterback and we have to keep him upright. So do you believe that Prime? That's why I asked you the question also. Do you believe that Shedeur was the best quarterback in college football? What did you say, CU fan? What did you say?
I did. I said that he was the best QB. Yes.
Okay. So then based on what KMS is saying, if you got the best quarterback in college football, regardless of your son or whoever he is, keeping him upright is the priority.
But
right?
Harry, regardless of the best quarterback, any quarterback, you have to keep him upright, or your team is going to struggle. It doesn't matter if he's a QB1. Like I said, I even say Cam Ward was better than Shedeur. So it's not about who's the best quarterback. It's about keeping them upright. You need a good offensive line, no matter who the quarterback is.
Right. I mean, no, that's facts. That's facts. But I got another question because I know we don't want to beat this up, you know what I'm saying, too much. We get it. You know what I'm saying? Semantics. Whether, CU fan is not going to let it go, okay? Just let you know, okay? CU fan don't let things go. It's fine. It's okay. He might come back next week and say, okay, I got what you were saying, but in the moment, he ain't going to let it go. So let's move on, okay? Heisman Trophy. Are any of y'all, I know DC can do this, but let me see if the rest of y'all, DC has no problem doing this. Are any of y'all able to speak on truthfully the Heisman without bias when it comes to Colorado and Travis? Who do you think deserves the Heisman Trophy? And when I say deserve, I mean it in the spirit of what the Heisman Trophy is.
Yeah.
The Heisman Trophy, take your Colorado shades and your earbuds off, and let's talk the purity of what the Heisman Trophy means to college football. Who on this list deserves that Heisman Trophy?
That's easy.
Yeah, that's easy.
Here we go.
Hey,
I'll let you go first.
Huh?
I'll let you go first, Tim. Go ahead. You said that's easy. Go ahead. Why is this so easy for you?
Because the award is to the best
Player
in college football.
Yeah.
Right? It does.
Okay. Who do you think is the best player in college football this year?
Okay. It's Travis Hunter. It doesn't specify position. It's a best athlete in college football. Right? So Travis Hunter, over 1,000 yards in receiving, 10 plus interceptions on the season, over 100 and some snaps per game. Yes, he was snubbed for best wide receiver, but he's in every award category.
That's DB, not wide receiver.
Right.
Thorpe Award.
DB. Right. DB. Sorry, excuse me. So he's winning awards on both sides of the ball. What he's doing has never been done before. So he's in a whole category by himself. People
Hey,
are
Tim, let
going.
me push back on that. Tim, I'm
Oh,
sorry to cut. I mean to cut you off, but let me cut you
okay.
off.
Make sure you get her.
I hear people keep saying it's never been done before. Is it fair to judge an award that is given every year to it's never been done before? So because that means that when Coach Prime produces another two-way star, which he has a couple on that team, Coach Prime is about to unleash the wrath of Coach Prime. Believe you me, he got a couple on that team that's wearing that gray jacket, wearing that gray uniform.
Mm-hmm.
So if we judge an award on it's never been done before, that means that we can only do this once every year or once at a time. We cannot continue to do it because once somebody repeats it, then that means that we can't give it to you no more because somebody has done it. Because if we look at this photo, people are also saying this has been done. But is that fair? Is that fair?
No.
And Tim, you got 10 more seconds. Let me get somebody else in.
Okay.
Go ahead, Tim.
What I'm saying is it hasn't been done before. Travis Hunter.
Did his audio go again? Because Tim's audio.
Yeah, he lost his audio.
Tim, go again. We hear you now. Go again. Say it again. Travis Hunter, what?
Okay. Travis Hunter is saying
Okay,
something that kids. Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead, please.
Travis Hunter is setting something going to be chasing for years to come. The brother, he's.
Hey Tim, your audio is bad, so you might have to log off and log back on if you can. So do me a favor, log off and log back on. Let me get somebody else to speak while we're waiting.
Yeah. So can I go next?
Yes, please go.
The question was, if it happens again, we can.
No. Are you going to take the question within the question, or are you going to take the top of the question?
Either way, I can go with either one. Okay,
go
so
to the top of the questions. Who deserves the Heisman Trophy? Okay, on this list, on the list that you're looking at, because I want you to try to do it without bias. It's going to be tough.
Okay,
it's going to be tough.
I'm going to say
without bias if you can.
I'm going to say Travis Hunter, and I'm not being biased because of the fact that Travis Hunter, again, what Tim was saying, is doing something that has never been done. The reason it's never been done is because, okay, we had Woodson that did this before, right? But not at the level that Travis Hunter has been doing it. He's been doing it every game. He's been out there on the defensive snaps, offensive side, and the man doesn't rest. I mean, it's hardly he's ever resting. He's always doing this thing at a high level. And we're talking about at a high level. He's always pushing the max all the time. Now, for other people that say like, Sean Genty needs to get it because he's an athlete that was able to get that running game going. No, I'm sorry. The Heisman is about an athlete, what the best athlete can do out there. And the best athlete out there is Travis Hunter, not Genty, not Cam Moore, not anybody. Ashton Genty, I'm sorry. Cam Moore, not anybody else, because they ain't doing what look at what Cam Moore, every other player is doing. They're sitting on the sideline, waiting for the next their next series to come up. What is Travis doing? He out there playing ball. He's making sure that he does his job. So it isn't a I'm not being biased. I'm just seeing what it's out there. Now, in the perspective of how it's gonna, if every person that's ever done it again will ever do it again, if I see something that's never done again, like, because the bias right now is the quarterback, the best quarterback gets it all the time because of the fact, or at least that's how it's been. The best quarterback is done again. But we've seen those numbers. Oh, they're winning in Ohio State. They're 10-0 or whatever, and he's going to get it because he's 10-0. 2, he's the best quarterback right now that's been done. How many times have we seen it? The award go to the best quarterback too many times because of it's become that award. Now we're seeing something different, and if we see something different the next time around for the next year, absolutely, I say give it to that person.
Okay, all right. So, Dre, do you feel like you can be unbiasedly? You can give me an unbiased opinion and give me something that I can lean on, where the people that don't like Colorado can say, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
These guys are a bunch of pansies and they just love Colorado so much.
Yeah. Hey, well, remember, I'm a bandwagon. Like I know my team.
I know, man. And
University.
that's why I'm trying to help the people that are out there. They're gonna be like, "Dang, Harry B, I like your show, but y'all just too biased to talk about this Heisman thing. Maybe y'all should punt it to another show." But anyway, try your best.
I would say so. I'll address it directly. So, like, who's deserving? I think Genty is deserving. I think Travis Hunter is. I even think Shedeur is deserving of Heisman consideration. Now, who I think will win? No, for me, I think it's either Genty or Travis Hunter. I wouldn't be mad if either of those two win. If someone else win, then I'll be like, okay, that's just insane. But like I do think, like I say, but if I had to do a favor, I would say like Travis Hunter is the favorite, because if we're going to take the best player, I think he's the best player, because it's not like he's providing empty calories on the other side. No, he 1,000-yard receivers, 12, 13, 14 touchdowns. And then on the other side, if you put his numbers up against like some of the best cornerbacks in the country, like I say, his numbers are going to be like right there. So you literally have two players in one. Not only is he a 1,000-yard receiver, and if you take the best receiver, which a lot of people say T-Mac, like I say, if you take the numbers, like he's not far off, and T-Mac did a lot of his numbers against like a smaller school, like in the beginning of the year. But that's what I'm saying. So you have like a legitimate, top receiver in college and a legitimate top corner. Like that spells best player in college, not the best quarterback, not the best running back. We have individual awards for all that. That he's the best player in my opinion. But if Genty won, like I say, I think he would be deserving as well.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how many 2,000 yards we've seen. I mean, they say that we've seen this before, but then when I look at the numbers, I'll say, well, you ain't seen this before. I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah, I think Derrick Henry, who Alabama.
So right, but it's like, but the numbers when they do the comparisons, I look at the numbers and I'm like, oh, okay. So when y'all did the historical stuff with running backs, you guys are only So let me put this one up, and then I have DC give me his thoughts on this as well. But when they did the numbers, I said, wait a minute, these numbers are not indicative of what y'all are saying. You're saying we've seen this before, but it looks like we haven't really seen this before, because at the end of the day, this guy, he's still got one more game to go, right?
He's going crazy.
More games to go, not just one more game to go, but he got a lot more game to play. Do they count for those who's been around football for a while, college football? Do they count the postseason numbers?
I believe so. I believe so.
December 9th is they're going to announce. So does that mean once they announce, then they're just kind of like, go ahead.
No, I believe it counts, because I heard Prime, he was in a conference, in one of the pressers, he was asking, because Mata, I think he's one field goal away from breaking the CU record, and they say in a postseason or in a bowl game that it count. So I would assume this would count as well.
Oh, okay. So I'm sure Mata's going to be kicking. DC, your thoughts, please, if you can be.
Hey, real quick about the whole
what was that?
Ashton Genty about the running back, and it's never been done before. But if you look at it, how many running backs have gone 2,000-yard years? I can name a few: Derrick Henry, Melvin Gordon, Andre Williams, Barry Sanders. You see the trend. The trend is it's been done before.
Well, look, when they won it, you can see the graphic on there. When they won it, they didn't go 2,000 yards. 2015, Derrick Henry was 1797. 2009 was Mark Ingram, 1429. 2005 was Reggie Bush. He went 1658.
But I'm not talking about like winning the Heisman winner. I'm talking about the 2,000-yard year. Like, we've seen that before. We've seen these from running backs before. It's just another, is Ashton Genty going to be a generational running back in the NFL? Probably. We'll see. But what I'm saying is we've seen this before. It's not something that we haven't seen before.
Well, that's why I asked you the question. We're not, I don't think that you're not basing an award on whether you've seen it before or you haven't seen it before. I understand that the argument for Travis Hunter, let's say he's not in there with Ashton Genty. Well, no, let's say Ashton Genty is not in there with Travis Hunter. Then is an easy win for him, right? So I guess I understand the argument if we say, oh, okay, we haven't seen X, Y, and Z before, and unfortunately, he just happened to be in there with Travis Hunter doing something that we've never seen before. But let me get DC in here. DC, your thoughts, please.
All right, so I think that Travis Hunter, phenomenal, and he has done something that we haven't seen before, which is play as many snaps as he played. But folks, y'all gotta, if you've never saw like Charles Woodson or Champ Bailey play, you got to understand the era that they played in and against the talent that they played in too. So when we start sitting back saying, hey, as far as the dual thing, you got to look at that game was far more about running back in the day, not necessarily, though there was passing. But you got to understand also Champ Bailey done been up against like the Peyton Mannings and stuff like that and did a phenomenal job. So Travis Hunter has done a great job by being the best player to play that many snaps in those positions. But we also got to acknowledge he doesn't have the best receiving yards, nor was he the best DB this year. I mean, just keeping it real. It's not saying he shouldn't win. I think he should win. But when we sit back and say it hasn't been done, that we got to put that in context. So I believe Travis wins, but you do have to sit back and say it's that let's, for example, this. How many of y'all know who?
What do you say?
Anybody?
DC, your audio went. What happened? What you say? How many of y'all know who?
How many of y'all know who Tyler Warren is?
Tyler Warren?
Yes. So he's a tight end for Penn State. He has thrown passes. He's done all kind of stuff. So he's done things, but he doesn't have the numbers. But players out there.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he's white, so nobody cares.
Travis Hunter should win. Right. Gotcha. Travis Hunter should win the Heisman. I want y'all to understand. Because of the fact that we have never seen anybody play that many snaps. Okay. But we can't sit back and say we have never seen anybody done it, because I'm going to sit here and tell you right now, do y'all see, put it like this, and I want to know can y'all hear me?
Yes, yes, we can.
I want to know what y'all think. Do you think you see Travis Hunter coming up tackling a Deuce McAllister?
He's gonna have to. I mean, he's gonna have to.
But again, you're talking about people that had more tackles than Travis. So Travis is the bomb. But you got to look at it, the time period that they played in. The game is total. Yeah. Put it like this. It's like this. When I listen to people talk about LeBron. LeBron is good, but anybody that lived back in that era, back in the 90s watching sports, would know there was something about seeing Jordan you knew what was going to happen. There was no question about it. We see LeBron is great, but there was just something about Jordan that was on a whole nother level. And because of how he changed the game from the marketing aspect, totally different ball game. Jordan built what NBA was. I don't think it's all that great now, but anyway, give it to Travis. But I think if we're going to have another conversation, we got to have that conversation I've never done before. We got to put that in context. That's all I'm saying.
Harry, I got a little pushback, just a little bit.
Yeah, yes, go ahead.
Okay. So first, like when we talking about like tackling, right? A lot of those guys you're talking about, like they play safety. So Woodson, safety. Like I say, they're going to come down and they play more in the box. They're going to come down and tackle. But plus, like as you said, they ran more. But if you have Woodson himself telling you never seen this before at the level that he's doing it, I mean, that kind of means something if he's telling you that Travis Hunter is doing that. And then as far as like you said, and I think you made a point, DC, that Travis Hunter don't have the best don't have the best, the most receiving yards in the country, right? That was your take, right?
Yes.
Okay, but would that signify if he okay, let's say he don't, but the person who does, would that signify that they're the best receiver in the country?
It all depends on talent and all
No,
that good stuff. But let me ask you this though. But real
Hold
quick, hold on one second.
Let's
Go ahead.
just finish that one
Ask
off.
it.
Because the number one receiver in the country, like he's at San Jose State, and no one would say he's the best receiver in the country. So I think that's kind of like, no, the people who they would say is the best receiver in the country is probably T-Mac at Arizona, right? You know what I'm saying? But Travis Hunter,
are you talking about impact, basically?
No, just best receiver, not just yards.
But
just
how
like
do you judge best receiver, by numbers or impact?
Potential NFL grade, you know, where they're going to go in the NFL. That's how they judge it. Because if we're going to go but just by yards, and then San Jose guy, and they even have, I think they have a tight end who got like a lot of receiving yards too. But the San Jose, he would be the best receiver in the country just by yards.
But Dre, here, I'm gonna give you an example like this. We say that Prime was the best cornerback that ever played the game, right?
I think it's all subjective. Like, you know, it's your preference. So
right, because you could sit back and say to a point where Darrell Green was a better cornerback because he tackled and he played cover, whereas Deion was known not to do that. Or, for example, when we talk about as far as a good cornerback, people forget about it. I mean, it's been years ago, a Lester Hayes, which will knock you out. I mean, literally just so. But it's not saying we don't take away from Deion, because Deion Prime was all that. We're just saying when we start looking at it within context, we got to go, okay, wait a minute now. This guy is great. He's doing something phenomenal. But within the context, I heard what Charles Woodson said, but I also watched what Champ Bailey did.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. So, like, you know, like, but if you, as you were saying, like back in the day, they ran the ball more, right? So he's probably had like a lot more opportunity. This era, like I said, is a lot of passing as well. And so, and also the defense that you play as well. So you got to think about it. CU, they play man-to-man defense. So Travis is locked on one person. So he's like, I mean, rarely played zone. And so, like I'm saying, when he do play zone, he make plays out of zone. So, like I said, I think it's just different. That's why I say it's preference and it's subjective. It's like, know who you think, what you like, and know who you know what your preference is.
But if you think about this though, when you play, the reason why people are saying Travis is because, number one, he's not just putting up numbers on one side, and people are using it as fool's gold. Oh, because he plays both ways. The numbers are equivalent to the top guy,
the top in the country,
on either side. So if you put it all together, then that makes the argument. So it's not necessarily he has to have the highest numbers on both sides to be the guy. No, he's being effective and putting up numbers, because if you look at it, he should not put up as many numbers as somebody else, because he's also doing it on the defense. So there's time he has to be tired.
But Harry, let me say this. Like, you know, a lot of times when we look at these players, like Harry, did you ever see a game where Jordan played, or you just basically seen highlights?
Michael Jordan?
Yes.
Bro, I came here in 1989. Michael Jordan was the man.
There you go. Okay, so when you sit back and see Jordan versus when you see LeBron, it's a different ball game, ain't it?
But but this is the thing. Do you know how to articulate that?
Okay,
do people really understand the nuances to be able to articulate the different time zone, the different times that they were playing in?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
LeBron is a big dude. LeBron would have been able to survive in Jordan's time because of his body structure, right? So it's not like Kobe Bryant, right? LeBron would have been able to survive, but as far as shooting wise, he's not such a great shooter if you attack him. So that's why you can say, oh, Jordan may have been better than Jordan would be better than LeBron, because if you're in his face, if you're stopping him from dunking, that's it. So
the only point I was trying to make. Let make this
let
point.
DC finish his point. Then
let me just make this point. It's the same thing. Like when you look at Ashton Genty, like if you saw, like, because see, most time you see highlights of Barry Sanders, not actually how it was in the game. It was like you would just sit back and say, man, this is crazy to see the dynamics of what was going on a couple of plays before and Barry Sanders. So that's all I'm saying. Just like the same thing with Hunter. Hunter is great and he's a playmaker. That's why I'm saying give it to him. But when you start looking at like one of the games with Champ Bailey or Woodson did, it's just like a different ball game. Go ahead.
Who was
No,
that?
I was gonna say.
I was gonna say.
Let me get Tim first. Let me get Tim in first. Go ahead, Tim.
I was gonna say we comparing Jordan and Kobe and LeBron. Yes, they were that man in their individual eras, right? We can agree on that.
Right.
Okay, when it comes to Travis Hunter, he's a different human in this day and age era, in his era.
Mm-hmm.
That we could talk about the Champ Baileys and the Woodsons all we want to, but they had their era to do that in.
Champ was not taking as many snaps as Travis.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Neither is Woodson.
In this era of day and age of Travis Hunter, he's doing it over 100 snaps a game. So that's like that he's setting a legacy for people to chase. Jordan set something for LeBron and Kobe to chase. LeBron is setting something for the people up under him to chase. And Ashton, even though he's a good running back, I'm not going to take that nothing away from him, but he's still chasing something.
Yeah, he hasn't. His numbers are not really like, his numbers are not groundbreaking.
What?
So,
his numbers are crazy.
His numbers are crazy, but unfortunately, you know how like you get in the award season whether it's music or it's in the film, you're like, dang, I got to go against Steven Spielberg. Dang, man, you know what I'm saying? Like, dang, I got to go against Jay-Z. It's like that. It's like the feeling is like, man, I feel bad for you. You're doing really well, and you would have probably gotten it. But then here comes Travis Hunter.
Yeah,
it's like you can look at what is one of your favorite players in the NBA, and you just feel so bad that they had to go against Jordan every single year, and you're like, dang, man, if Jordan was not here while you were here, you would have been the guy that we were talking about. But CU fan, go ahead, please.
Yeah, I just want to say something about the comment that DC said about the whole, Michael Jordan and generation. Well, I mean, every generation has, it evolves. Football, NBA, whatever sport evolves. And there's always going to be a certain player that takes and becomes generational in that evolution of it. Like Travis Hunter is not, like Deion Sanders. Deion Sanders was not known for hitting people. Travis Hunter, he's mid, but he's more of a coverage guy, because he's forced the evolution of
beat you
football
with his
has
mind.
forced him.
He doesn't have to beat you with his physical size.
Yes, that evolution right there. The way he does things has caused him to be great at what he does. It's the same thing with Jordan. Jordan played in a physical era. I mean, you go against Detroit Pistons and they were bashing people, and it was an era that was so different. Now you go to the era now you got LeBron doing the flops. It's a whole different era. Sometimes I think it's not good to really base what a certain generation did to another generation and what made them so good and whatnot. But there's always going to be talk. It's just we play in a different era, and that's all I'm trying to say. Is like Travis Hunter is playing in a different era, and he's good at what he does because he plays in this different era. Because if he played in the era where it was nothing but running and hardly any passes, we wouldn't be talking too much about it.
But Harry, but I just got to say this, but Harry, understand for context, CU fan thinks Trump is better than George Washington, but continue.
What? Wait, what? What? Oh,
I see what
don't
you
get
did
me
there,
started
DC. I
right
see
there,
what you've been
DC.
doing here. I see.
DC,
So,
don't
so
even get me started on that.
I know. I
I'm messing
know.
with you. I'm
I know.
messing with you.
Hey,
I know, but
hey,
I'm
we
saying,
had
don't get me started on that.
we had this conversation. I'll end with this because we had this conversation offline, me and DC, and I told him, I was like, well, if you think about errors, if you think about times, the people are produced for those times. You feel me? So people are actually like depending on what we're going to next, somebody's going to be produced for whatever's next. People had to be produced for the time that we were in. So that's how people are produced. You produce people for the time that you're in. And yes, you're going to have some tougher guys. And the one thing I know, people sometimes they think about how small Travis Hunter is, but Travis Hunter beats you with his mind, not his body. His body size. Listen, if you teach a player how to tackle, you don't necessarily have to go wrap up and you got to be this big linebacker type. You don't have to do that because, number one, if you're running, you hit the guy on his right below the knee, right above the knee, right on those pads, he's going down. There's nobody on earth, nobody on God's green earth, okay, that if you take out their legs, they're going to keep running. All right? It just doesn't work. The physics does not support that. So
Hold on 1 second, though, Harry. I got to say this, though. Watch the chat don't light up. And I think a couple of people get it. Just a side note on football. There was a running back that you took your chance going for his legs or you was going to get knocked out. And that was Christian Okoye. You go to his legs and you get that knee.
The Nigerian Nightmare?
Yes.
The Nigerian
And you will
Nightmare.
be on the sideline.
You're going to be on the ground. He's one of them. I think Jerome Bettis was another one. But I'm just telling you.
But what
Hey,
I'm saying is,
but Steve Atwater had something to say about that, though.
But the thing about those guys is you didn't necessarily it wasn't going to take just one person, but you had to do your part to let your guy to give your guy time to come in and you know and help to bring him down. So it's a committee thing. So certain running backs it's gonna take a committee. It's not gonna take one person. And obviously they didn't figure it out with Kansas, right? Any of the Kansas teams. So whatever that is. And it's after 1 o'clock, guys. I gotta get up out of here. I want to get final thoughts. Hey man, the show is gonna continue. I'm gonna be having more conversational type things because we are now in the not regular season. We are in the not regular season, so we're gonna be having more conversations as the conversations come to us. We're gonna be having these conversations. I thank you, my panel, for coming on and having these conversations with me. If you are listening after the live, please have a conversation with us in the chat. Thank you guys that were in the chat. We be Zulus, Peter Investor, Mr. Hillsman. I got my guy Wild Dog is in the chat. Everybody that's in the chat, Gerald DTH, all of that's in the chat. Ali, let me get final thoughts from my panel so we can get up out of here. See you, fan. We're gonna go with you first.
Great show. I appreciate you having me here, Harry. It's always a pleasure to come here and talk about the great stuff. And I'm looking forward to talking more about the future of Colorado because I see a bright future. And I'm not disrespecting anybody when I say, you know, I'm going to be happy to see Shedeur and Sanders' son, Deion's sons, are just separated from the team and let them do their own thing and let
we all been
prime time.
I can't wait. I can't wait to see who Coach Prime looks like without his son.
The recruiting that we have, I want to see Juju. I want to see our new O-line being put together. I want to see a running game.
Hey, did you hear did you hear he got hurt?
Yeah, hand injury.
His left hand, his throwing hand. I'm sorry, his throwing hand got hurt. But he says he's gonna. They said that he's gonna be fine. By the time he gets to Colorado, they said he's gonna be fine. But anyways, what I'm saying is, the excitement for me. I mean, I tell my wife I'm excited to finally see separation and just enjoy the new era because this is a new era without his children. This is going to be basically like Cam said. It's unbiased. It's going to be basically we're going to go get this because we need it for the team. We're going to go out there and make sure that we get all this situated. And I'm excited to see it. I hope we see more recruits popping in because I'm keeping up on a lot of the recruits that are being talked to, and I'm excited to see a lot of it. I'm hoping that we get the the 5-star inside lineman. I'm offensive line. I'm excited that hopefully we can get him. I see a bright future for Colorado. The one thing, DC, real quick, you think Sweetness would survive in this new era of football?
Yes.
It's good because Sweetness I personally think he was one of the best running backs to ever play the game, and the ability to that smash mouth football. You don't see that much anymore of smash mouth football like that.
No,
The only problem
PPE and concussions, we can't.
Yeah,
we gotta let that go, bro.
Yeah, only problem is you wouldn't want to be called Sweetness in this era. So
yeah. Well, actually, no. This is the era that you want to be called Sweetness because everything goes down. Because
I guess since I'm talking, let me go. First of all, CU fan says great show. This was horrible. I shouldn't have come on. I'd rather be juggling porcupines than come on.
Thank you, DC. I appreciate that.
Say good thing. I'm messing with you. This is a great show, by the way. But the point being, fantastic show. No, I wouldn't juggle porcupines.
You gotta have some callous hands to juggle porcupines.
I know. But that's just a saying thing. Man, I would have rather juggled porcupines than did that. But anyway, yes, also CU fan, I don't think you want to be talking to your wife about separation. Don't throw no ideas out there. I'm messing with you. No, so anyway, I want to say this.
Man,
great season.
DC, you are
I know. I'm throwing it today. Great.
He had coffee with he had spiked coffee.
You ain't lying, man. Forget it. I just poured it into my mouth, brothers. I'm hyped. So here's the thing.
Goodness.
Great season, CU. Great job, Heisman, for Travis. I do think that Shedeur should have been up there. I think he's better than Dylan Gabriel. And then as far as what I think Prime is doing, I think Harry is spot on. I want to, because we've never seen a Coach Prime without Shedeur. So I'm looking to see what's that's going to look like. I'm also looking.
What is up with your audio?
Also looking to see if they lose any coaches, and that's it.
Do you realize that
people calling me?
You realize that you thought there was a lot of eyes on Colorado this year because of Shedeur's last year. There's going to be so many eyes wanting to see what Sanders can do, Deion can do without his sons. I'm one of them. I'm excited to see, especially with the recruitment we have. There's going to be a lot. See, this year they had TV and whatnot, and they had the Prime show that they did. Next year, it's going to be literally, you're going to pay us now a hell of a lot more than what they used to pay us, because a lot of eyes are going to be wanting them to see them. It's exciting this year. It's going to be even more exciting next year.
Okay, but thanks for stealing some more time. I see what you're trying to do there. you just want the show to keep going. Hey, Dre, what's your
I wasn't trying to do that. I'm excited about Colorado.
Dre, what's your final thoughts, my guy?
No, good show, man. Thanks for having me. Like I say, I'm excited about Colorado as well. Like I said, I think it's all just rinse and repeat. It's going to be Prime is going to create that same culture where the next quarterback is going to be like his son. Isaiah Hart is going to be like that's just who he is. But I'm more excited about like I said, I'm a Hoosier fan. I'm an IU fan. We're going to be in the playoffs and we're going to make some noise. I hope we can make some noise in here. So that's what I'm excited about.
Well, you got another fan because I'm a Hoosiers fan because of your coach.
I live in Bloomington, by the way, so I'm here. So
word. So when Holman said, "Google me," that's so New York. I was like, oh, I said for sure. Because New York, when I got to New York, dudes was like, yo, my name is X, Y, and Z. Remember that name. I was like, what does that even mean? And then years later, I started to remember. I started to get that New York swag. I was like, oh, that's what that means when it said, remember that name. But when son said, Google me, I said, oh, no, I'm a fan of his right now. Now. So I am a Hoosiers fan. I will definitely be doing Hoosier content for sure.
No, that's good, though, because kind of like what went along with our conversation today about being relatable. If you listen to how he talked, I don't know how he can be relatable to anyone. But at the same time, he wins. And all you got to do is Google it. So
and he meant it. He wasn't just playing around. Son said, Google me, and he meant it. So
Google.
yeah, he's like, look, Google me, because and he was pissed when they lost. When they lost, yeah, he was pissed. He was like, all right, I'm gonna find a way to win. And then when the next game, they almost hung 100 on him. I'm like, dang, this dude don't play around. So yeah, man.
We knew that was. I mean, so Purdue is our rival, like our last.
Bro, he didn't let them breathe. I was like, shoot. I said, Coach ain't playing around. So yeah, I'm a Hoosiers fan now. I'm straight up a Hoosiers fan. Like, it ain't just Colorado no more. I'm a Hoosiers fan. Tim Smith, get us out of here, my guy. You got the final word.
Hey, another great show, Harry.
Appreciate it, man.
I enjoyed the panel, man. Talking to you guys. DC, stop eating them coffee grains.
Yeah, man. You can't snort them.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm happy for all the guys that are up for awards and won awards this season. I'm looking forward to the next season under Coach Prime, season 3.
Yes, sir. Year number 3,
episode. Man. So I mean,
this is supposed to be the natty year.
Yeah, it's supposed to be, and I'm looking for. Hopefully, we can get the Alamo Bowl because that bowl pays the most. So, looking forward to seeing who we're playing against, and in a bowl game, and
they're saying BYU, I think.
Hey, I'll take it.
We have to play in that Big 12.
The Alamo,
crazy Big 12.
No. So they're not in the Big 12. So they're still doing the Pac-12.
I meant Pac-12. I meant to say Pac-12.
They still got to do that for 2 years. So right now, if they go to the Alamo, it'll be more than likely BYU.
Oh, we will kill BYU. I was like, BYU is slipping. Houston going we left some meat on the bone, and there was a lot to talk about, but I gotta go. But boy, I was watching the game and I'm like, Houston, you're doing this on purpose, bro. Like, I was like, come on, man. Like, what are you doing? Like, y'all probably went and y'all had a conversation, and y'all like, no, we're not gonna let Colorado in. First of all, you took our running back, Alton McCaskill. He disappeared. I don't know what happened to Alto. His mom used to come in here and we used to chat it up. Hey, Mama Alto, what happened to Alto? We heard nothing about Alto. So was that a good decision to leave?
He's at Arizona State.
Did he play?
No, he's behind Scatterboo.
He's behind Scatterboo. He's a cheerleader.
Yeah, he's
stop playing. His mom comes in here and she would do not say her son is a cheerleader. Stop playing, okay? Don't start a whole nother show. Anyways.
Hey, Harry, real quick. Hey, after the show, send DC my email if you don't mind, sir.
Okay.
I want to holler at him after the show, but it's not about the show. It's just something with my son, man. He in flight school, so I wanted to pick his brain about some things.
All right. Let's do it, bro.
All right, I'll send it. Hey, don't forget, DC is afraid of heights, so he might not be the best one. So, hey, DC, I was thinking about that. Every time I drive when I'm on the bridge, I don't drive on the outside of the bridge. Like, I don't drive on the far right lane, because then I have to look over and see. I'm so afraid of heights. Oh my gosh! And then I thought about you. I was like, but this guy flies. How the heck does it do that?
Let me tell you a quick story. I was driving back from Texas flying some missions, and I hate bridges. So right before I was going across in Timanoa, that bridge in Baton Rouge, I was getting ready to go across it. I was like 10 minutes away, and on the radio, that bridge goes over the Mississippi River. 10 minutes before I got to the bridge, it came on the radio that a bridge further up had collapsed. What do you think happened? I was like, all right, I don't want to do this, but I'm finna just get what you got. So that's facing your fears. But anyway, man, it was fun. Let me stop.
Yo, I would lose everything. Like, no, there's no way, bro. Like, I don't know how you are able to face your fear of height flying. That's like the weirdest thing. Like, I can't. Anyway, let me get up out of here. It's 1:16. We don't go too far. All right, guys. Thank you for making this show a special show. This is a good show. It was a great discussion, guys. We left some meat on the bone. There's a lot more discussions we're going to be having, guys. So make sure you put that notification on, because when I pull up, I want you to pull up, because I got a lot of conversations we're going to be having. I'll see you guys on the next show. I believe Friday will be. Are the bowl games starting this Saturday, or do they take time to fester before they come back? What's happening? Do y'all know? Anybody know? The bowl games don't start this Saturday, right? We got
No, I think it's a championship, conference championship.
Right. They start the week after that.
Oh, okay. So, anyways, y'all will see me on the conference championship. We'll come on here. We'll chat it up, and we'll learn a little bit more about the team. So, I'll see y'all on the next show.
Hey, don't we got a portal jumper too?
So you talking about from somebody from CU?
Yeah.
Somebody.
Two of them.
Oh, we got 2 guys that already jumped. Important guys or just regular players?
No, the background people.
Okay. All right. We don't need no extras. We're not going to talk about the extras. We'll talk about anybody important. I'm coming on here and we're talking about it. So I'll see y'all on the next show, guys.
Later,
All right,
guys.
Harry. Have a good one. You
All right,
guys
you
have
too,
a good one.
guys. Peace out. Take care. All right, everybody. Thank you for being a part of the show. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.